What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Goblin, and yes, I still sound a little sick, but who cares? Because today, we're talking about the time that I smoked some fake weed. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Drop a like if you do. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Head over to Goblin420.com and enter code GOBLIN at checkout for 20% off. We're running this discount for the rest of the month. Head over there, Goblin at checkout, 20% off. Also, let's talk about our friends at MyBookie real quick. With the baseball season in full swing, you can head over to MyBookie today and sign up using code GOBLIN to get your first deposit bonus. No matter which team you want to support or what sport you want to bet on, MyBookie has it all for you. So head over to MyBookie today and sign up using code GOBLIN to claim your first deposit bonus. Don't wait, don't miss out on the action, and remember, bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Big shout out to them. Now let's dive into the video. Now listen, this video is only happening because of a very chance occurrence that happened the other day. You see, I had almost an out-of-body experience flashback when I was out in public just a week ago. I was at the gun range and I saw a guy that I had not seen since high school, and we're going to call this dude Daniel. Now, I had forgotten all about this dude's existence because I'd only met him a few times, and he was one of those people who I just kind of bumped into and grabbed weed off of a few times, and that's really it. Back in high school, there was a lot of those people. As an adult now, I have maybe 5 friends, 2 people that care about me, and a couple cats. But back in high school, I knew a whole lot of people. Now, I don't think he recognized me, and we didn't even say anything to each other, but I saw him, and I was sitting there like, why does that kid look so familiar? And then I realized it's because he sold me fake weed in high school. Now, granted, I totally wanted to go say what's up to the guy, but we didn't end on the greatest of terms because of this incident, and also we're at a gun range, so this is probably the worst location for a confrontation ever. So I was just like, fuck it, whatever, I'll just ignore him. You know, I don't even think he recognized me, to be honest. But he's probably selling so much fake shit back then, he didn't even remember my ass, honestly. But either way, let's talk about the fake weed. So this happened in my forbidden junior year of high school. This was during my peak degeneracy. And at this point in my life, I was smoking some garbage. Most of my friends were. It was just how it was. We would go to pretty much anyone that had a bag. We didn't care how good it was. Just the first person that could serve us was getting our money that day. On this unfortunate day, it happened to be Daniel that was the first person to get our money. You see, I was out of weed and I hit up Daniel because I had recently met him. We had only known each other for, I don't really remember how long, but it was not a very long amount of time. Maybe a couple weeks, maybe a month. I'd hit him up and asked him to grab some bud because, like everyone else that I went to high school with, we were all trying to sell weed, and if someone posted the phone emoji on their story, you knew what that meant. So I hit up Daniel, and I'm like, yo, I need a little bit of bud. What you got for me? And he told me he could get me right. He had 8s for the low. You see, this guy offered me a whole 8 for $20. I should have known something was up, but listen, back then, a $20 8, bro, I would do anything for that. I would do unspeakable things for the $20 8. We were getting taxed on the mid back then. We weren't tapped in. So, oh my God, when I heard $20 8, my heart skipped a beat, dude. My eyes lit up. I couldn't believe it. It was like Christmas Day. I saw the golden gates to heaven opening for me. Jesus reached down and grabbed me and said, son, I have some Reggie. So since Reggie Jesus had blessed me on this day, I told Daniel that I wanted to come grab off him. And he was like, bet, just let me know when you can pull up, come by whenever. So I went about the rest of my day. I hit him up literally as soon as I woke up because I knew I was going to need some weed. So I went about the rest of my day and I went over to Daniel's house. Now, I don't really remember where Daniel even lived, honestly. I just remember I had to go pick the weed up from him. But the one thing I do remember about this guy's crib is he had money, dude. He had money, which makes me wonder why the fuck this guy was finessing for $20 when he probably could have gone and asked his parents for $200. Like, this guy, I just remember he was in a nice fucking area, dude. It was a bit of a drive drive for me as well. But either way, I cruised over to Daniel's house, and the serve portion of this was very normal. I didn't even get out of my car. He literally just came out, hopped in my car, handed me the weed, I handed him the money, and I left. Now, I didn't even look at the weed. I didn't think anything of it. Back in these days, I didn't give a shit what was in the bag, dude. If it got me high, done deal, my boy. So I handed him the money and I dipped on out. Now, this is the part that I remember most vividly. This is the rest of the night is the part that I'll never forget. You see, at this point in junior year, I was quote-unquote dating a girl. I think talking to is more appropriate, and we had planned to smoke together that night. So I drove straight from Daniel's over to her, and I picked her up, and we were just going to smoke in my car. Now, this is a girl that you guys have probably never heard about because this lasted like 2 weeks, dude. We never got serious. I use dating as a very loose term here. It was like a little bit more than just talking, but like I was not calling her my girlfriend, okay? So I picked her up, and I already had the wraps with me as well, so I was ready to rumble. We went and we parked up in this little parking lot that was pretty close to her house, and I started to gut my blunt. Now, I still had not pulled out the weed yet. And also, the girl that I was smoking with, who from here on out we will refer to as Ashley, she did not have a very high tolerance. So this was really a bad night for Ashley. But I gutted my blunt, and I had my Swisher ready to rumble, the classic Swisher Sweets, and I busted out the bag of weed. Now, I still at first didn't really notice anything wrong with it. I should have mentioned this earlier, but going into it, I knew that I was buying Shake. He told me that it wasn't Nugs, it was like Tiny Nugs and Shake. So I knew going into it that this was not going to be the greatest weed ever, right? This wasn't going to be any like Instagram-worthy weed. I pulled it out, and the first thing I noticed was that it smelled just a little bit funny. As soon as I opened the bag, it had a particular smell to it, and it wasn't really very natural smelling. It definitely smelled almost like, it smelled like the artificial flavoring in Swishers, if that even makes sense, combined with like a lotion. It was like just a really strange smell. I think the best comparison I can think of off top right now is a tropical fusion Swisher. But I didn't think much of it because I was like, well, you know, maybe this guy just had some other weed in the bag before. Whatever. Still thought nothing of it. At this point in my life, I also didn't really know the difference in how to spot bad weed and good weed because I was like 17 and I was an amateur. So I just looked at it and I was like, well, hey, shit's kind of green, dude. I mean, fuck it, let's smoke it, you know? Now, another reason that I kind of let my guard down here is because despite me having only known Daniel for a few weeks, I had already picked weed up off him before this. This was not the first time that I had hit him up for weed, so it wasn't some crazy thing. And the first time he sold me weed, it was just some swag, you know? Like, it wasn't necessarily fake. It wasn't any synthetics. It was just some shit weed, but that's what I paid for. Now, as I was rolling up this blunt, I remember the weed was just sticky, dude. It was a really weird, it was almost like it was moist, like it was moldy, you know? Have you guys ever touched some weed that just was not cured properly? It was not treated right, and you could just feel that it ain't right. It's got that stickiness, but not the good kind of stickiness. That's what this weed had, right? So I'm putting it in the blunt, and I'm like, damn, bro, this shit's kind of damp, you know? Like maybe this guy pulled it out of his ass or something. I don't know. Still didn't think anything of it. Now, I am intently focused on rolling this blunt because, listen, me and Ashley had almost nothing in common. When we would link up, it was the most awkward shit ever. There was a reason that this situation only lasted like 2 weeks, dude. We barely had shit to say to each other. It was one of those scenarios where, listen, I was 17 years old, off the drugs. I would probably fuck any woman that even smiled in my direction. And as long as she had a moderately nice ass, I'd fold. I didn't care about anything else, you know? No disrespect to this woman, but she was absolutely not my type. I was just horny, my boy. So, we're sitting there in damn near dead silence. She's talking about some absolute bullshit. We're having the worst conversation ever. I'm rolling this blunt up, and I get it twisted up, nice and efficiently, right? She always liked that I was a good blunt roller, you know? Every time, maybe the 4 times that we hung out, she'd always mention, she'd be like, oh, you roll such good blunts, right? Hey, what can I say? Rolling a Swisher is so easy. My dead grandmother could do it. So I spark up this blunt and we're just sitting in this empty ass parking lot. She lived in one of those bougie neighborhoods. The parking lot that we were in, it was one of those like neighborhood clubhouses. That's how you know motherfuckers got money, okay? I had me a rich 4 out of 10 white bitch, all right? I was chilling, smoking that K2, right? She had her neighborhood at one of those clubhouses and they had not only a pool, my boy, they had tennis courts. Maybe I should have stuck that one out, bro. I could have retired off that family money, bro. Fuck. Either way, dude, I mean, she was loaded. We're smoking in the bougie lot. And I sparked this blunt up, and I will never forget the way it smoked. We didn't even finish the blunt. She was never the type to finish the blunt, but I put that shit out like halfway through. You see, I sparked it. I took a couple hits and it hit pretty rough, but the taste was not really the weirdest part about it. The way it smoked at first was not the weirdest part. The weirdest part is after me getting a couple hits and Ashley getting a couple hits and it making its way back to me, the way it was smoking was not normal. It was almost like I lit a piece of notebook paper on fire. You know how whenever you've got a blunt and you got a joint, you should be having that nice light gray smoke, and the smoke even moves a certain way. Weed smoke moves way differently than cigarette smoke or really any other kind of smoke. But this was not doing that. This was not like normal weed smoke, dude. The way this shit was smoking, it was dark. It was dark. When I exhaled, it was so gross. And the smoke just coming off the blunt as I was inhaling it was just nasty looking. It looked awful. It looked like a one-way ticket to terminal lung cancer. Now, despite all of the complaints I just made, I kept hitting that bitch. Ashley tapped it a couple more times too, and after getting about halfway through the blunt, I was starting to feel really fucking weird, dude. I felt almost like my arms had fallen asleep, like there was no feeling left inside of my arms, and I'm sitting there like, dude, what the fuck is going on? I've smoked synthetics before, and most of the time whenever I smoke synthetics, I get a really fat head rush. I found that most of the time when I've smoked, that Scooby Snacks, the K2, all that old bullshit, at least in my experience, it felt like the most extreme head rush sativa ever, and not in a good way. But this was different. This was way fucking different. I felt this numbness in my limbs, almost like I didn't have the strength to lift the blunt up anymore. In my head, I started feeling really spaced out, and I started seeing tracers everywhere. It's like I would look in any direction, there would just be like 20 little purple orbs just flying around my vision. I thought I was about to pass the fuck out, and I was starting to get kind of worried, so I put that blunt out and tossed that shit. Now, Ashley had been damn near dead silent the entire time while I'm going through this blunt. So I finally say to her, I'm like, yo, how are you feeling? Because I wanted to see if maybe I was just tripping or what. And she's like, I don't know. Like, I don't feel good at all. She was kind of freaking the fuck out. Now, I'm sitting there in the driver's seat just kind of trying to collect myself. I'm like, damn, dude, that was different. That was not what I was expecting. And Ashley gets out of the car and throws up all over the fucking parking lot. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, damn, bro. All right, we're in for a fun one. Now, as soon as she threw up, I don't know if it's because she threw up or if it was whatever the fuck we smoked, I started feeling super nauseous. So I got out of the car and I started dry heaving hard as fuck. Luckily, I held it down because I was a champ at that point. Nowadays, I'm not holding that shit in. If my vomit's coming, it's coming. But back then, I was a world star champion, okay, gold medal. So I was able to hold that shit in and just dry heave, right? And that's exactly what I did. I was damn near on my hands and knees on the asphalt. Now, I realized pretty quickly that we couldn't just stand in a parking lot next to a car vomiting. So I said to her, I was like, yo, come on, let's go somewhere real quick, So I turned the car off. I locked that shit up, and she's still not feeling good. And she's like, it was kind of disgusting, actually. She was vomiting as we were walking. We're walking, and she would just kind of turn her head to the right and puke a little bit. And I was standing there, and I was like, holy shit, dude. As soon as I started walking, I didn't even know where I was headed. I just wandered away from the whip, dude. I was like, fuck it, man. We're out of here. I walked towards this big, clubhouse style building, and on the side of the building, they had bathrooms that we could go to publicly, right? Luckily, you didn't have to go inside the building to get in this bathroom or anything. So I was like, fuck it, dude. Let's go to the bathroom. I think we need it. So we go in the bathroom, and I am having the most short-lived but intense high that I had at the time. This shit was crazy. I'm not going to compare it to a weed high. I'm not going to say I was stoned because I wasn't. I don't know what fucking drug I was on, but dude, the tracers were getting more intense, and I was starting to get more and more lightheaded the more I walked. So I needed to sit the fuck down. We got in the bathroom, and I just sat on the bathroom floor, and I was just sitting there holding my stomach like, dude, I'm gonna fucking yak. Like, this shit's coming back up. Ashley is still puking in the toilet, pardon me, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, holy shit, dude, like, this is very, very unfortunate, you know? Now, I had not even thought to hit up Daniel yet. I at this point, I was in survival mode, dude. I was trying not to keel over and die. Now, I didn't realize it at the time, but I guess while we were in this bathroom, we were making a good bit of noise. Ashley, from what I remember, granted, this is the only time I ever saw her puke, but Ashley, she was an audible puker. I remember that much. I mean, she was violently vomiting. Like, it was not one of those things where, you know, the liquid's just coming out. No, Shorty was like screaming through the vomit, dude. This shit was crazy. And I'm also sitting there holding my stomach, feeling lightheaded. Realistically, I was probably sitting there moaning, dude. I was like I was incapacitated, dude. I'm sitting there like, dude. So someone bangs on the fucking door, dude. Someone bangs on the door of the bathroom, and they're like, yo, are you okay in there? And I'm sitting there like, dude, it's like fucking 7 p.m. The parking lot was empty. Where did this guy come from? And I thought I was fucking tripping at first, dude. I was sitting there and I was like, damn, dude, am I really hearing shit right now? But he asked if we were okay, and I answered back. I was like, yeah, dude, all good, you know, just a little sick. I had to answer back for Ashley because she damn well wasn't answering back. And then he never said anything. The guy never said shit. I've always been confused by that, dude. Looking back at it, like, if I was just walking past a bathroom and heard someone vomiting, I would not give a fuck, dude. Maybe that was my guardian angel, my mid-angel, coming down to say to me, son, don't smoke any more of that synthetic whatever the hell. Put that shit away. Maybe that was my angels checking on me. I don't fucking know, dude. But what I do know is that shit tweaked me out even more. Now I was kind of freaked out. And I said to Ashley, I'm like, yo, we gotta fucking get out of here, dude. I thought I was really, like, scared at this point. I felt this overwhelming, like, paranoia come over me. And I don't even know what I was paranoid about. What the fuck were we gonna get caught doing, dude? We didn't have shit. So I was like, fuck it, dude. Hey, let's get out of here. I took the rest of the weed. I had the baggie on me still, and I threw that shit in the toilet, and we got the fuck up out of that bathroom, dude. Now, luckily, this was a very, very short-lived experience. I was feeling relatively back to normal within maybe 30 to 45 minutes after smoking this shit. And that's how I know that whatever this was, it was a research chemical from the depths of a lab in China that I probably can't pronounce. But after we left the bathroom, this shit cleared up pretty quick, and I was looking around trying to see if there was anyone else around us, dude. I'm looking all around and I'm trying to see, like, yo, where's the guy who knocked on the bathroom door? Because we got up out of there maybe like 3 or 4 minutes after I heard whatever I heard, and there was nobody around. It was dead as can be, dude. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, bro, I'm fucking tripping. I still, to this day, I don't know if that was actually a real person or if I was just hearing shit off whatever I had just smoked. But after we got out of the bathroom and I started feeling better, I was not in the mood to kick it anymore. I told Ashley, I was like, yeah, I'm trying to go home. I'm going to keep it a buck. And she was like, yeah, I don't feel good either. So I dropped her ass back off at home. And then it was time to hit up Daniel. So I hit up Daniel and I was like, yo, dude, what the fuck did you just sell me? And I hit him up and he already knew what he was up to because this guy didn't reply to me or anything. He just fucking blocked me. Like, he just blocked me. And that was the only form of contact I had with him. It's not like I knew him very well. I've met him, fairly recently. So it was one of those things where I was just like, damn, I'm out $20 and I just smoked who the fuck knows what, dude. It was a very interesting experience, to say the least, and one that I had almost forgotten about if it weren't for my chance encounter at the gun range the other day. But hey, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Drop a like if you did. Head over to Goblin420.com and use code GOBLIN at checkout for 20% off any order of any size. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, y'all.